challenge here is you end up sort of feeling very humbled because you're introducing such interesting people. Our next individual, as well as being a brilliant co-founder of SAIF Autonomy, is also a former RAF pilot, I will have you know. So super impressive. But it goes back to a word about trust, which is really central to the work that our next speaker is interested in. It's a great pleasure to welcome him to our stage here at Future Horizons. Kyle Thomas, you are cleared for takeoff. Welcome.
Wow, thank you. How do you follow that? Well, let me show you. Stick a cool picture of a plane on the screen.
Yeah.
Well, let me take you back to where this all began for me. So I was a pilot flying in the Royal Air Force, operationally around the globe. And those missions, they weren't easy. They were often over high mountains, through hostile valleys, at night, in brutal weather. And what made those missions, really possible wasn't just the crew skill, although that did matter, right? But it was also things that we surrounded ourselves with, the safety layers, things that you see on this slide. So air traffic control, satellite tracking, night vision goggles, rules, regulations, checklists. They're the scaffolding, invisible but essential, that we used to come home safe after pushing the limits and flying risky missions. And yet, when it comes to artificial intelligence, we've thrown that out the window. That scaffolding is gone. We're asking algorithms to make decisions that can be life and death in high-stakes environments without the guardrails that we have everywhere around us in other industries and other walks of life. And so if you look at self-driving cars, there's been a race to make them fully autonomous, to take away those safety nets, to take the human out the loop. Well, is that sensible? Because really, the result is a trust deficit. No matter how statistically safe these vehicles are, one incident can erode public perception and public trust overnight. That's the problem that we're solving here at SAIF. And as an evaluator pilot, I was running the Air Force Collaborative Autonomy Program. And what we were doing there was taking human pilots and pairing them with autonomous systems and ultimately AI-driven partners. Now, at first glance, this was incredible. It was breathtaking. A human AI team that could navigate through an enemy hostile air defense network and come out the other side. But then we noticed something very, very strange. And that was that the AI trained on human flight data, it started cutting corners, literally. It would fly a bit too close, nudge past boundaries. And it thought that was acceptable because it was trained on human data. Now, humans, we're trained to avoid these errors. We correct them. We know why they're there. They're rule sets. They're supposed to be guidance that we follow. But for the AI, it didn't see that as a flaw. It saw this rule breaking as optimization. And that, for us at SAIF, was our breakthrough moment. We realized that probabilistic learning, however brilliant, would never be enough for safety-critical systems, particularly when lives are at stake at the end of those. So we built something new, a safety intelligence that wraps around the AI, not to slow it down, but to keep it within the lines that protect all of us. A guardian, not a governor, a system designed to ensure that when AI acts, it acts safely, predictably, and within defined ethical and operational limits. We call that SAIF, the safety architecture for intelligent frameworks. Now, our trust layer sits above the physical AI, on the platform, at the edge, looking at the algorithms on board that system, observing, verifying, and constraining its actions in real time, but critically taking corrective actions when things are predicted to go wrong, so preventing the errors that can happen. And we don't require data link or communications to do that. Today, we're working with some absolutely incredible partners to bring this system to life. Take one of the most extraordinary drone companies in the world. Until recently, they couldn't fly using physical AI. Humans always had to be watching, always had to be monitoring those systems. With SAIF activated, that limitation changed. Those UAVs can now fly behind buildings, through tunnels, around forests, and they can be legally compliant, accountable, and ultimately entirely safe. That single change, it unlocks absolutely everything. It transforms autonomous systems from tools of observation into hyper-efficient tools of logistics, emergency response, and infrastructure. That's the world we're building, not one where we blindly trust AI, but we trust the systems that surround it. Now, a little bit of fun one. Let me ask you a question. Hands up in here, who would get on this plane? And for avoidance of doubt, there are no pilots on it. Right? No one. Brilliant. Well, autonomous systems, they're already also making life and death decisions, right, on some of the world's battlefields. How does that make you all feel? Particularly if it was your sons and daughters who were fighting on those battlefields. Or this. Would you trust that robot to care for your elderly parents, to bathe them, to comfort them when they were lonely? Well, they're not scenes from science fiction. They very nearly are present. And if these systems worked perfectly, they really could do immense good. AI can make transport safer. It can reduce casualties in war zones. And it can support an aging population with human carers that are in short supply. Because robots don't panic. They don't snap. They don't tire. But if you're like most people, you're still going to feel uneasy about this, right? And why is that? Well, that's because we don't trust the systems that we are building. And until we fix that, the promise of AI will never deliver what it should for humanity. Here's the stark reality. For every $1 million spent on moving AI forward, only 100 is spent on safety. And that needs to change. That isn't an accident, it's a mindset. We treat safety as friction and as drag, and that's the thing that slows innovation down, but it doesn't. That mindset is wrong. Safety isn't a brake. It's scaffolding. It's what lets pilots fly into danger and come home safe. It's the firewall that made e-commerce possible, the protocol that made Tim's World Wide Web scale safely. Safety is what allows progress to compound. Safe is what lets us trust it. And ultimately, trust unlocks everything. Thank you.